to the 106 adjusted job classifications, correct?
Yes.
So will you provide more information on what criteria was used for that study and how it was determined which jobs would receive increases?
Yes. So we looked at the jobs that had a 10% vacancy or turnover rate that we had established were at least one salary range below market, and we established market through a series of surveys that we purchased that I mentioned previously that included both public and private employers. So we have several different surveys, and so if they were at least one pay range under market and we were experiencing high vacancy or turnover.
And this was, the study was comparing comparable cities in Texas, is that correct?
We not only compared other municipalities, but we compared other private and public sector entities.
Okay. And can you tell me how long it will take to get all the employee compensation up to par?
I can't tell you that yet because we're continuing to evaluate where those ranges should be, but that'll be part of what our recommendation is in the trial budget. Depending on the cost, we'll determine the number of years that it'll take to fully implement.
Yeah, that's going to be driven by money. I mean, we will need to, what Renee is saying, and we're using the 2008 as our bellwether example, but if it's going to cost us $70 or $80 million to put into effect all five of these things, we're likely going to have to phase those in. We don't have the luxury, I think, of not addressing as much of this as possible as soon as possible, because literally we're competing with everybody right now. And so it's not like something else that we phase in over 5 years. We're going to need to prioritize it like we did the 106 job classes where we had the most trouble getting people positions filled.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point, is that we are competing with other municipalities and private entities, and I appreciate your presentation. There's a little bit of a rosy picture, I think, of what a lot of our city employees are experiencing right now. Having said that, given the $10 million that council approved, what is that going to be used towards in like raising the level of retention?
At this point, I'll defer to the city manager, but I believe it's going to be as a payout to our current employees as an effort to retain them.
Oh, that's the premium pay?
That's the ARPA, yeah. Yes, ma'am. That's the last slide that, remember what we talked about was we did a survey. We had 71% of the employees respond. The most common response, and I think I said this at the council meeting, whatever the majority of employees say, is what we'll do. And this is what the majority of employees said. So
can we see the results of the full results of the survey?
Absolutely. We'll put that in a memo to the council.
Great. And is there a cost of living adjustment considered for this budget?
We haven't established what that will be yet, but that will be part of our budget recommendation.
Okay. When will we know about what it will be?
You'll know. We'll give you some scenarios in the trial budget, but Renee had a slide on there because we're talking about there's almost a pyramiding effect. We've got market adjustments we need to do. We got pay plan structure we need to redo. We have across the board adjustments, and the order of which those things come. I mean, the market adjustments to me are more important because they are dealing with the inequities potentially in how our employees are compared. Okay. A sizable market adjustment may account for part of the across the board. So we've got to layer these things out, those three things out. But you'll get an idea in the trial budget. We'll set aside money. It'll probably be the largest incremental spend on any other topic. Okay. It'll be employees.
I'm glad to hear you say, we don't have the luxury of kind of sandbagging this, right? We have to move quickly. We're losing good people probably all the time at the city to private entities or maybe even other municipalities. But and I'd like to, this is for another time, but I'd like to know more about the timelines in the phased-in approach. I'd like to maybe get a briefing on it, understand more about that. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabello Havrda, Councilmember Perry.